There is a recurring structural irony in Unbowed and Unbent that the episode itself seems to recognize with quiet satisfaction. Alicent Hightower is trapped in the Red Keep, prisoner of the Queen who promised her freedom, and yet every man who has ever benefited from her maneuvering is blaming her for his failures, even as they each prepare to relaunch the war that she enabled them to begin. Sir Criston Cole, mud-streaked and elegiac on the banks of the Blackwater, fantasizes about the songs that will be sung of his sacrifice, then embellishes the daydream with the detail that even his ex-girlfriend Alicent, locked in the Red Keep, won't escape the earworm of his legend. He is saying this to Alicent's brother. In Harrenhal, Aemond wakes up from nightmares of his family and concludes that the root problem is his mother, who obviously preferred Aegon. Across the Crownlands, Aegon confides to Larys that his failure as king traces directly to his parents' favoritism of Aemond. The irony is that Alicent, meanwhile, is doing the only thing she has ever done, attempting to protect the one child she might actually be able to help, while the children she failed grow into threats. Helaena is pregnant. Alicent's conspiracy to provide her daughter with an abortifacient is thwarted by Helena's refusal, and then by Alicent's own choice to drink the tonic herself to throw Mysaria off the scent. The attempted escape through the Red Keep's hidden passages ends with mother and daughter trapped between dark castle walls and a dead end, in the episode's most visually precise piece of storytelling. Two women in a labyrinth not of their own making, out of options in both directions. The more interesting political development is that Mysaria chooses not to report it to Queen Rhaenyra when she discovers the pregnancy in the first escape attempt. Alicent's description of survival at court, the value of secrets kept, the cost of having nothing left to barter, has apparently found its mark. Whatever Mysaria's motivation, the first fracture between the Mistress of Whispers and her queen is now visible. And in an episode about blind spots, the crack that forms in private is always the most dangerous. Queen Rhaenyra herself is governed this episode by what Daemon names explicitly: blindness. She's blinded by grief, unable to visit Joffrey while he's awake, because if Joffrey is here, then Jace is really dead, and she cannot face that yet. She is kneeling before devotional candles in a sept while the bodies of her gold cloaks accumulate on the streets, assassinated, with gold coins with Darren's face left as calling cards. Aemond Hightower positioning his teenage ward as a third green claimant to the throne in the most pointed possible way. The macabre Last Supper of gutted gold cloaks that awaits Daemon at the episode's close, a feast for traitors painted on the wall, announces that the war inside King's Landing has entered a new and uglier phase. Daemon, for his part, is blinded by the immensity of his own self-mythologizing. He cannot imagine an enemy he cannot vanquish by afternoon. The empty barracks and the arranged bodies are his education. Meanwhile, three sons of Alicent Hightower are moving into position. Aemond emerges from his sickbed at Harrenhal to kill 4 Ironborn raiders while bleeding from the kidney, the old maniacal self returning to his eyes. Aegon, in Rook's Rest, stabs Janis to protect his identity, and smiles as the life drains from his victim's eyes. The childhood bully still alive inside the burnt husk of a king. And Aemond is already minting coins that bear his ward Darren's visage. A third green claimant to the throne, announced not with dragons, but with currency. 3 potential usurpers, 1 queen unable to see clearly what surrounds her. This is the kind of irony that House of the Dragon does better than almost anything on television. Daemon needs his self-mythology to rally the Gold Cloaks. Queen Rhaenyra needs her grief to feel something other than paralysis. The only people who see clearly in Unbowed and Unbent are 2 women trapped between castle walls in a dead end with no way out. House of the Dragon Season 3 continues on HBO and HBO Max, so let me know in the comments. Are you ready for the next phase of the Dance of the Dragons? And of course, don't forget to subscribe to Fandom Frontline for more reviews as the season unfolds.